Good morning, gang. 0500, and it's time to get the brain in gear. So let's get into this. This topic today might be considered a little bit more advanced prepping, but still worth talking about because there are some people there, or it's something that y'all need to think about too. Uniformity, okay? And we can talk about this in a lot of ways. Whether or not your mag, your household, your group, whatever size organization you are part of, has interchangeable parts. Okay. And I mean, this could be as simple as is the standard weapon that everybody uses an AR or an AK. Okay. Y'all seen plenty of movies. You know this. I don't have to, throw me a magazine. I'm out, whatever it is. So somebody throws a magazine. But if it's an AR-15 magazine and a guy's holding an AK-47, it's useless, right? Okay. But I'm going to take this to the next step because I'm guessing that that is probably taken care of. Your standard loadout is going to have maybe a 9mm or a certain kind of radio or whatever it would be. But so here's my question. What about all those people who are going to be part of your mag who aren't now? Okay. Your kids who are coming home, okay, whether or not everybody wants to believe it, they're coming home, or your parents or your ex-wife or whoever it's going to be, somebody that knows that you're in better shape than they are is going to come to you. Or somebody that sees in any sort of SHTF situation that you are in better shape is going to come to you for assistance. And of course, now it comes into what we've talked about, and a lot of channels have talked about many times. Do you take them in, or do you tell them to hit the bricks? Okay, simple as that. Maybe they do have skills that you want to bring in. The person's a medical professional, or the person's knowledgeable about welding or something, and they've got skills that you want access to, or you're going to need access to. But this is where I get into, are you prepping for them? Now, let me get into what I'm talking about with this. The only time that you are going to consider this is when you figure you've pretty much prepped everything that you need to prep. You've got your whatever, and again, this is all on a personal basis, whatever your goals are. You've got your year's worth of food, or your 2 years worth of food, or your 6 months worth of food, or whatever you think you need. You've got your communication taken care of for your group. You've got your weaponry taken care of for your group, your security, etc. And there might be some people that are there that think, I got everything I need, okay? Or at least are pretty damn close. Some of you who have been doing this long enough know at the beginning, you can get a lot of stuff real quick. Beans and rice are cheap. Go out and buy, take $100 to the grocery store. You buy a lot of beans and rice. You can buy a lot of canned goods, whatever it would be. As you get further and further down, the more intricate things that you need, they start to get a little more expensive. Okay. We talk about, you got $100 to go out and buy a bunch of canned food. Great. Take $100 and try to buy a canner. Right? Maybe you might find one. Okay. Now you're getting one thing instead of a lot. And it gets more and more. We've talked in the last couple of days about freeze dryers or things like that. People start talking about vehicles to buy. Do you want a vehicle of some sort for SHTF? All the talk about buying, pre-1980s cars or whatever. You start buying stuff like that, that gets expensive. But, vehicles are a perfect example with compatibility. Cars are going to break down. Cars are going to be salvaged, I guess, if you will, for parts. Motor doesn't work anymore, for whatever reason. But you know what? The water pump on it's still good, or the starter is still good, or something. So you can start scavenging for parts from that car. But you're not going to take a water pump from a Toyota Corolla and put it into a Chevy Suburban, for example. So is there some sort of compatibility? Do you have a common vehicle, right, that either the group has or is very common, that you're going to find broke down cars out on the road that you can get the parts for? And I know this is starting to, it almost sounds apocalyptic, but, some of the things we prep for are kind of, the economy collapsing is apocalyptic, guys, okay? And that, in my opinion, is still the number one threat we face. But where I say prepping for other people, my guess is your mag, your family or whatever, is going to have some sort, and I'm using this as one example, is going to have some sort of standard uniform. So you can recognize friend or foe from a distance, okay? One of the SOP things that should be standard operating procedure for everybody is nobody ever leaves the house, the farm, the whatever. Nobody ever goes outside the building unless they're in uniform. And whether your uniform is ACUs or BDUs, or whether you've all decided it's going to be, black pants and a green t-shirt, whatever it would be. Everybody needs to have that. You're going to bring in new people into your mag. They're not going to have a set of BDUs or a set of ACUs or whatever it would be. Have you purchased extra? Go see the supply sergeant, whatever it would be. You're going to be part of the group. At that time, it's not going to be, hey, run to Walmart. Hey, get on Amazon or get online and order this for yourself. No, they're not going to have it. You're going to have to already have that stuff ready for them. Go, okay, what's your size? I'm small, medium, large, whatever. Poof, here it is. Now, if you need to take it in or whatever because of all it is, get out your needle and thread, and you need to start sewing up the cuffs or sewing up the sleeves, whatever it would be, to make it fit correctly. Chances are you're not going to be handing out weapons to people. Hopefully they've got their own, but that may come too. You get, a lot of us own more than one weapon. Hopefully you have redundancy in your weapons too. You don't have the 45 ACP and the 9mm and the 10mm and the 380, yada, yada, yada. If you do, that's fine. But hopefully you have multiple 45 ACPs, multiple 9mm, multiple 38s, whatever your standard carry is. Because, again, it's a lot easier to buy a lot of one type of ammo than it is a little of a lot of types of ammo. So what's standardization? What's everybody going to have? Because if you run out of 9mm and your buddy has some, okay, you still, that weapon is still good. If you're the only one using a 10mm and you run out of 10mm ammo, there ain't no more to get. All right, nobody else carries it. So you will be arming other people in your mag if you have that ability. Whether they show up, there's going to be people that are going to come into your group that are going to be like, I'm afraid of guns. Guess what? The first thing you're going to have to do is start training them. Here's the weapon. Sit down. We are going to teach you how to use an AR-15. We're going to teach you how to take it apart, put it together, how to use it, sight it, etc., 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 and you're going to use it. Because nobody's going to come into the mag and go, defend me. Well, it's your turn for guard duty. I don't like guns. Guess what? You're not pulling guard duty. You're not sticking around. You aren't willing to fight for the rest of the group. We sure as hell ain't worried about fighting to save your butt. So start thinking about others, not others that you know, others that you might not even know, okay? Do you have extra socks for your kids to show up? You've got enough for you. If you got to this point, you want to have a dozen extra pairs of socks. Great, okay? Now, if you add 2 more people to your mag, that means you need 2 more dozen of extra socks for those people, just in case they don't have them. Food, okay. Again, this is where I go into, you got to figure out a way to replenish your food, i.e., whether you're gardening, whether it's animal husbandry, whatever it would be. Do you have people in a group that know how to hunt to provide whatever it would be? But start thinking about the other people that you are going to need and how you can load them out. Because there are people that you're going to need that are going to show up on the doorstep, and you're going to say, come on in, we need the bodies. And if you put that person out on guard duty in the middle of the night, and they're out in blue jeans and a white t-shirt, and a bad guy comes up in blue jeans and a white t-shirt, and now you're at 200 yards, you can't tell who's friend or foe. It's why you need to have standardization. It's the definition of uniform, okay? Uniform is not necessarily just what you wear. Uniform means everything's the same. And for a mag, it's very important. It's real simple why everybody in the Army, U.S. Army, any Army, wears the same uniform. It's redundant. Same uniform, okay, is redundant. So they can identify each other. The Russians wear different uniforms than the Ukrainians. They can identify each other, okay? The Army wears different uniforms than the Navy. They can identify each other. You need to think about standardization, and once you have that taken care of, then you need to start creating that supply closet for others that you may not even know yet. Something to think about. We'll see you later. Pinball out.